A monomial can be a number like 5, a variable like x, or an expression that is the product of one or more variables with non-negative integer exponents. So something like 5xy squared would be a monomial. But in order to classify something as a monomial, we can't have a negative exponent. So nothing like 4x to the negative 2. Or if I write it as 4 over x to the 2, that's the same thing, meaning we can't have x in the denominator to be classified as a monomial. Despite doing all of the exponent rules with it, we just wouldn't call those monomials. A polynomial is just an expression with more than one monomial. So what you'll see is terms separated by pluses or minuses, and that would be called a polynomial as long as it meets the same requirements as the monomial. The degree of the monomial is the sum of all the exponents of its variables. So if I say 5y squared, there's only one variable, it's 2, so the degree would be 2. But if I put something like 5xy squared, then the x is there as well, and there's an understood exponent of 1. So if I add the exponents of the variables, the exponent therefore would be 3. When it comes to the degree of a polynomial, you look at each term separately, and whatever one is the highest degree of any of the terms is the answer to that problem. So let's take a look at some examples with that. Are these monomials or polynomials? If either, and then also state the degree. So if you look at A, there's no pluses or minuses. It's a single term, so we would refer to that as a monomial. And since there's more than one variable, the degree comes from adding the exponents of the variables. So 3 plus 4, the degree would be 7. Whereas in number 1b, notice the plus and minus, there are 3 different terms. So this would be called a polynomial. The first term would have a degree of 7, the second would have a degree of 8, and the third would have a degree of 2 because of the understood ones, and the highest power of any of its monomial terms is 8. So that would be the degree of the entire polynomial. And then C, notice the first term has a negative exponent, so that is neither a monomial or a polynomial, and therefore we can't state the degree. And now in this section, we're looking to simplify polynomials. A polynomial is simplified if there's no parentheses, meaning we'll need to distribute, if our final answer has all positive exponents, and then any fractions that are left are simplified or reduced. So what you're going to notice is this section is a lot of just distributing, and I know that you've done all of this before, so you can just kind of read through the examples that I have there. Pause the video, try them on your own, and then restart the video and see if you have the right answers. Okay, how did it go? Looking at B, very, very important. This here is a binomial. Exponent rules do not apply, so you cannot just square each of these terms. That's a really big mistake. You have to think of this binomial squared, meaning something times itself. And then you need to double distribute or FOIL, whatever you look at that and have learned that in the past. C is a binomial times a trinomial, so you're going to double distribute again, the first term to everything behind, the second term to everything behind. And 2 terms times 3 terms should give you 6 multiplications. And then when I combine my like terms, this is my answer here. D just shows you a triple distribution, a trinomial times a trinomial, 3 times 3. Look at how many multiplications we have, 9 multiplications. And then I just combine my like terms. E demonstrates that cube, where I did the same thing as up above with B, where I have to expand it 3 times, multiply the first 2, get an answer, and then whatever your answer is, multiply to the third one to get your final answer, which is down here. And then F, you probably didn't do it this way, but this is what I'm really going to emphasize, and we'll do another one in class. When you're distributing this monomial, technically not defined that way because of the negatives, to this 3-term trinomial, I need to think about the negatives, and I really recommend that you move all the negatives to the denominator and create new fractions, and then distribute as fractions, meaning multiply straight across numerator, multiply straight across denominator, which gives me this line. And then I'm able to reduce each term separately as if their own individual exponent rule problems. You don't have to do it this way, but I am going to make these problems more complicated, so I really recommend that this here is your approach to then get to the fractions, to then just do basic exponent rules to simplify. And finally, last but not least, just a little extension problem. This is something that'll come up later in the year too. I'm looking for you just to practice your exponent rules. You'll notice there's nothing to do on the left-hand side, so I'm just going to leave that n to the 2 plus x. But on this side, we have an exponent rule that has my power to a power, so that's where I'm going to multiply my exponents. And now I have a multiplication, so that's where I'm going to add my exponents. So the whole right side just simplifies down to n to the 10th. And if I ask you what makes that equation true, just look at it closely. In order for the n's to be equal to each other, their exponents must be equal to each other as well. And so I can just set up a little mini equation and solve. And in order for that to be true, x has to equal 8. Hopefully this went well. Please feel free to bring questions next class after the quiz, or reach out via email if you have any questions before then.